episode of Financial Freeway. My name is David J. Atwood. I am the man rocking the Ray-Bans. It is Friday, June 13th. Oh, Friday the 13th. And you know it's funny? There's a lot of lore about around Friday the 13th. And this goes back to the crucifixion of Christ, the Knights of Templar Knights. It goes back a long way, and it's just kind of become one of those things where Friday the 13th is this dangerous bad luck day. But my daughter Rachel was born on a Friday the 13th, and that was, oh my God, that was 30 years ago. 30 years ago? Yeah. Holy moly, 30 years ago. So, it's 30 years ago. Or 29 years ago. It's a while ago. But anyways, Friday the 13th is no longer a scary day for me. I always think of my daughter when it is Friday the 13th. So, what do we got today? It's Friday. I have a suspicion it's going to be a very slow day at work today. It's right before Father's Day. And my only thing for Father's Day that I ever really want is, well, you know what's funny? I would love to be served a coffee in bed. I love that. To me, it's just the height of decadence is being served a coffee in bed. Love it. But the second thing I like more than that is dinner with my daughters. And they always ask me what I want. And there gets a point to your life where you don't have needs, you don't have requirements anymore. You don't really have any. I mean, truly, there's nothing I really truly want. And oh, sure, it'd be nice to have a new car jack for the garage, or the barbecue is getting a little worn out. It'd be nice to have a new barbecue. But for the most part, I have no wants, no needs. I'd be very, and honestly, what makes me happier would be simply just to have dinner with my daughters. Love that. As a joke last night, just to kind of throw a little wrench in the works, my daughter said, "What would you like for dinner?" And I said, Wagyu beef tomahawk. That's what I would like. Little did she know that's like a $200 slab of meat. So much fun. Anyways, I wanted to talk today about coping mechanisms. And it's coping mechanisms are meant to cope through bad times. I've been doom scrolling a lot because I've been honestly just relaxing, trying to heal my back. So I've not been doing a lot of movement. So I've been doing a lot of doom scrolling, and it is addictive. It really is addictive, and you can understand. It seems like, oh, you're not putting a chemical in your body, so what's the problem? You're not drinking alcohol, you're not doing drugs, you're not eating high carb fats. So what's the big deal? And then you realize you spend 2 hours of your day just scrolling through shorts on YouTube. It's like, oh, that's the problem. It does suck away your life. I used the excuse when I started doing the doom scrolling that, well, I'm trying to find educational stuff to feed my mind. It's like, no. Eventually, I'm just watching videos of my favorite is when cats get scared, when owners wear the mask of a giant cat and walk in the room and freak their cats out. Love those. And also people scaring their spouses. I don't know why that tickles me so much, but I really do enjoy those. So not a lot of education is going on. But I saw this one video crept into my feed about this girl having a mental breakdown because she was arrested for DUI. And she was 21 years old, and she started screaming for her mom, and then kicking at the cops, and then she was having a complete emotional breakdown. And I wasn't seeing a child, I wasn't seeing a woman losing it and go all full Karen on the cops. I was seeing a child that did not get the proper coping mechanisms through stress. And and then when something really stressful happens, there's no way for her to manage her stress. There is no coping mechanisms put in place, and she feels that if she just has that complete and utter emotional breakdown, she honestly believes that things will fix themselves. Someone will come and rush and calm her and soothe her and give her what she needs to get through the next moment. But she was left alone in the back of a cop car, and she just absolutely exploded. And it saddened me, because in our rush to give our children the lives that we didn't get to have, in our rush to make the lives of our children better, we destroy them. And in our rush to say, I don't want my child to go without, and no one was there for me, and I was always left on my own, and I had to deal with this, and bullies made my life hell, and all this stuff, and I don't want my kid to go through that. In this narcissistic desire to go back in time and fix our lives, we end up ruining our children. And it's a shame, because it absolutely, I understand why, because I do it myself. I've done it myself to my children. I've spoiled them in ways they've worked through the damage I caused them by me doing the same thing, making sure that they didn't understand the stresses that we went through, the financial stresses. It didn't touch them. They didn't know. And it's this battle, this constant battle of training your kids to be strong warriors, but protecting them from all the bumps and bruises of life. And unfortunately, the thing is what ends up happening is, everyone looks at this kid as a spoiled brat, and I'm thinking, no, this kid never got the training. And part of it is, again, if you had parents that were distant or abusive, you might want to go to the other extreme and be that overbearing parent, and that you want to have your kids understand that you're their friend, and no one's going to love them as much as I love you, and all this stuff. And it's important to do that. But the friendship thing, and it was Tito Ortiz. I can't believe I got parenting advice from someone like Tito Ortiz, UFC wrestler. He was big in UFC when it first got off the ground, and when I was like deep into it. And he said one day on an interview, and it blew my mind. He said, we're not making friends. Our children are not our friends. We are building competent human beings, competent adults. I was like, blew my mind when he said that. If someone gave me that parenting advice when I was younger, that simple sentence, I would have been a much better parent, I think. I could have given my kids better tools. I won't say I'd be a better parent. I would have given my kids better tools to move forward and be more successful. But this is not why I'm talking about this morning. The reason I'm talking about this is, on the way home on Wednesday, I got behind a car in traffic, and it was a Scion, I think it's called a Scion. This is a little bit of a sporty car, right? It's kind of a nice looking car. It looked very new, and I was kind of curious to who would drive that kind of car. Because my thing is, if you're going to buy a sports car, buy a sports car. Like, buy a sporty car. Don't buy that one that looks like a sports car. So I don't know Scion. I don't know what kind of car it is. I don't know if it's a great car, but it sure looked sexy. So I pull up behind this woman, and it was a woman driving. And I look, and she was smoking a cigarette. And it always kind of bugs me when I see people smoking in their cars. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm a non-smoker. But to me, it's like when I see people smoking in their house. It's like, it takes forever to get rid of that smell, right? Like, you shouldn't smoke in your house. Like, it's really bad. But again, maybe because I'm a non-smoker, I feel that way. And then I noticed that she had tattoos all over her arms, because her arm was hanging out the window. And then when I got a little closer, I noticed that she was dyed her hair, like you could tell her hair was dyed blonde, like it was an unnatural blonde. Again, you know what? Maybe I'm not, but when you got the brunette eyebrows and the platinum blonde hair, my mind screams that this is a dye job. Again, not judging that, But I also noticed that she was overweight. And she had, okay, I don't know if I said this, but she had lots of tattoos on her arm too. And my thing is the tattoos, the smoking, the weight gain, the fancy car, everything about it screamed to me like she was using these as coping mechanisms of something deeper. And I started to think about it. Like I started to think, as I'm looking at this woman, and I'm not being judgmental. I'm not judging her at all, and I want that to be clear. But my heart started to break for her because I started thinking, what is she running from? What is she doing where she needs to have the tattoos, the dyed hair, the fancy car, the smoking? And I think all of those things are coping. They're all coping techniques of coping for something much deeper. And I started to think about, is that what some of us do, and maybe a lot of us do, is we go through life and we start thinking, how do I avoid the pain? How do I avoid the suffering and the trauma? How do I deal with the trauma? And I think some people do. They lean into putting stuff on the outside of their bodies, right? Like they put, like I said, like the tattoos. And again, I'm not judging anyone who's got tattoos. I personally do not understand tattoos. I don't understand why someone would spend thousands of dollars on getting themselves tattooed. Personally, I don't. I have better things to spend my money on than tattoos. But on that note, I have better things to spend my money on than fancy shoes as well. So there's that. I'll go buy a super expensive watch, and I'll go to Goodwill to buy a shirt. So that's me in a nutshell. But when I see someone who I think would feel internally better by focusing on more internal issues, and instead of covering it all up with the buying fancy cars, making her hair pretty, and yet still being morbidly obese. And I just think, okay, maybe this might hit people the wrong way. Maybe it might be a thing. I'm not trying to body shame. I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying, I think more people pull away from pain and discomfort. They shrink away from it and decide to cover it up with a bad diet, with nicotine, with spending a paycheck or lots of paychecks. Decades of paychecks on a fancy car, and instead of looking inward and going, okay, I didn't have a dad, and I didn't get told I love you enough, and these things bother me, and how do I fix that? How do I move forward? How do I get to a point where I can cope with the trauma that I've experienced in my life without overcompensating in other areas? And it led me to think, when I was thinking deeper about it, I was thinking, it's the avoidance of pain and misery. It's that racing out, trying to get away from the discomfort that really, really makes our lives miserable. It really does. You're sad, and nobody wants to be sad. And sometimes facing trauma through EBT, emotionally based therapy, or whatever, is hard. And it's okay. So it costs you a couple $100 to go visit the counselor every 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks, and you gotta open up some wounds and start dealing with stuff. It's hard. It's ugly. It's not fun. And so we try to avoid it. We shrink away from it. We shrink away from that discomfort. And that is where the rub is. That's where it really is. If we are constantly pulling away from being uncomfortable, We don't want to live a life of discomfort. We want to live a life of happiness and bliss. We want to stay in this eternal situation, this internal feeling of bliss and happiness by eating bad food, drinking too much, and smoking cigarettes, and just having that tingle and and that little happy tingle in the back of our brain all the time. We want to drive a nice car because it makes us feel good. And in reality, the whole thing is we're running and hiding from facing our past and facing our childhood. It leads to a life of misery, is what I'm saying. Avoiding discomfort leads to a life of misery. We have to lean in. We have to do the intermittent fasting. We have to quit the smoking or the vaping. Trying to convince ourselves that vaping is safer and healthier than smoking cigarettes. Don't use your lungs as furnaces, people. And at the end of the day, we eat too much. I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'm guilty of eating high carb foods and snacks and living a life that's not perfectly healthy. Oh my God, I'm getting parking. Ooh, this is rockstar parking. Look at me. Woohoo! That's what you get for waking up 5 minutes early. Whew, nice. Taking it. So the whole thing is life is hard. And I think it's fair to say to anyone that life is life's a journey, and it's not an easy one. Oopsies. But it is important, so important to how am I doing there? Oh, I'm doing great. It's so important to face the challenges. And look, nobody likes doing push-ups. Oops, overdid it. Nobody likes doing push-ups. Nobody likes doing the hard work. Nobody likes dieting. Well, it's not nobody. Some people like it. But the point is that with when it comes to, come on, Dave. When it comes to life, it's hard. It's hard to get the diet right and and invest your money and save your money and all that stuff. But the reality is that putting the money away, brushing your teeth, flossing, doing your push-ups, doing your sit-ups, drinking your water, avoiding the snacks, putting the food away at 7 o'clock at night and you skipping breakfast. These things nobody really enjoys. Everyone wants to go to the buffet with the bottomless mimosas, but the reality is that you can't do that all the time, and that leads to a life of misery. Look at yourself. Look in the mirror. We all know what we need to do to be successful. We are lying to ourselves. We sit there going, I don't know what I need. We know what we need. Like, my back went out. My back went out really bad a couple of weeks ago, and it put me out for like 2 weeks. I know the reason it went out. It didn't go out because I twisted funny. It went out because I took a couple of months off of doing my sit-ups and my push-ups. And this is what happens. I know this. It's called accountability. And by facing the accountability and facing these things, it is uncomfortable, but it will lead to a life of happiness and success and abundance. Don't push away from the tough stuff. Talk to someone. Get help. Get a counselor. Don't cover up your pain with food and fancy cars and stuff that's so obvious to the rest of the world. Look at yourself, look in the mirror and go, what do I need to do? Go out in the yard and garden. Don't go and get drunk at the pub or the nightclub. Get up early and go for a swim in the lake. Find a reason to really, truly love yourself. That's what I want. That's what I want everyone to feel. I want everyone to feel loved, to love someone, and to feel self-love. That's what I want. Anyways, folks, thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, notifications, all that stuff. Check out financialfreeway23.ca and spread the word. Tell the world about what we're talking about here, because it is our mission here to make sure that everyone understands that they have the inalienable right to live a life of success, happiness, and abundance. Wherever you are on this beautiful Friday, God bless.